What is going on, guys? How are we all doing? So, going to be taking a look at another little tank today, and that is this. It is the Aspire Nautilus 2 stock coil tank. It's a pretty brilliant little mouth-to-lung tank, in all honesty. So what we're going to do in today's review, we're going to go down to the table. We're going to do a quick little unboxing. I'm going to show you all the tank. I'm going to show you how it comes presented to you, how you use it, how you change your coils, how you prime your coils, all the usual stuff. This has been out for about a year, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit less, you never know. I'll actually find out at some point, probably not today though. And it's one of the best selling mouth-to-lung tanks on the market. It really is. Looking at about £20–25 for it, and yeah, it's a pretty decent little tank. So, while you're all here, do us a favour. Should be a little button on this side and a little subscribe button. Hit that button, then hit the bell notification button to keep up to date with all the latest news and reviews. So, see you all on the table in just a little second, and we'll do a little unboxing and I'll show you this. It is the Aspire Nautilus 2. Right, see you in a sec. So welcome to the table camera section of the Aspire Nautilus 2. So we'll have a quick little run around of the packaging, and then I'll unbox it. I'll show you how to change the coils. I'll show you how to fill the tank and everything like that. So, front of the packaging, you've got the Aspire's logo. And then you've got the name of the tank, Nautilus 2. You've got top fill, you've got precise adjustable airflow, compact yet curvy design, 2 milliliter capacity TPD compliant, and improved flavour production. This product contains nicotine, which is a highly addictive substance, and then the above warning only applies when the device has been filled with nicotine-containing e-liquid. On the top, you've got Aspire. On the back, you've got Aspire Nautilus 2, keep out of reach of children and minors. Got the contents of the tank, which is a Nautilus 2 tank with a 0.7 ohm coil pre-installed, one extra coil, 1.8 ohms, an extra glass, 8 O-rings, 1 user manual, 1 warranty card, and 1 extra drip tip. Made in Shenzhen, EIG Technology Co. Limited, and the address, another TPD warning. On this side, you've got to find more about our products and how to use, please visit aspiresig.com. And on this side, you've got your scratch and check authenticity, you've got your barcode, you've got your batch number, you've got, and then the colours that this tank is available in. With stainless steel, adonanized black, adonized red, adonized blue, adonized silver, and adonized grey. And on the bottom, you've got who it's imported by and usual warnings. So, pop this tank open. Nice little pull tab on a foam, spongy kind of packaging. Pop it all out, you get your user manual, which is probably in a million different languages. Yeah, a million different languages. I can see Polish, I can see German, I can see Greek, English, German, I've already said German. Yeah, every single language available. Sound. And then you get your warranty card and what to do. And what to do if anything goes wrong with your tank. Inside the box, you get a Pyrex glass tube in case you drop and smash your tank. You get a spare drip tip, which is 810 size, and it's got it's 810 size. It's made out of Delrin, and it's got 2 little O-rings on the bottom to keep everything nice and secure in place. And you get your spare 1.8 ohm coil. And then also, last but not least, you get your, before I get into that, and you also get a bag of spare seals and O-rings. And then last but not least, you have the Aspire Nautilus 2 tank in all its glory. On the base, you've got Nautilus 2, you've got designed and manufactured by EIG. You've got your C and E and your don't throw away kind of symbol. There you've got adjustable airflow, which comes down from one hole, work its way up, and you've got 5 holes of airflow, each increasing in size. The way I normally run mine with about 3 holes open. Happy days. So loads of airflow options there. You've got absolutely tons of airflow. So if you like a nice tight mouth to lung draw, 1 or 2 holes as you want. And then if you like a little area, almost like a restricted lung hit, you've got 5 holes to customise it to your liking. Got a nice little bit of machining on the 510 with a little peak insulated 510 pin inside. Working our way up a little bit more, you've got a nice circular window with the Aspire logo embossed in silver, which gives you a nice little view, and so you can see how much liquid you've got left in, so you're not having any mistakes with that. On the reverse, you've got exactly the same. Nice little window in to see your coils. Work your way up, you've got your drip tip. The way it comes is a pre-installed stainless steel drip tip, and if you open it up, you've got the same 2 O-rings as what you have on your Delrin one, and you've got a nice clean catch cup there to keep everything in place. So, to get into the tank, it's always going to be quite stiff when they're brand new, so bear with me. A lot of threads on this, so you unscrew that. Inside you've got your chimney that comes down a little bit, that makes connection with your coil, and this is just hollow. Give you, and it's just to give your device a nice sleek look and a little bit more protection than the original Nautilus, where it's just a straight glass tube. So then you've got your glass, you've got 2 O-rings here. This big thick one, which is a rather thick O-ring, it is going to be quite stiff to get off when you first use your tank. But it's been designed in such a way that you don't really need to take it off unless you need to change your coil. So to prime your coil, so to get this off, this is going to be a little bit of a struggle. How I usually find that works it, if you push in on your coil onto the side, it usually gets it done. Remove it all. That does take a good bit of wiggling, but it does eventually come off. And to change your coils, you need to unscrew. The coils themselves are nice little coils, Aspire BVC, Nautilus BVC coils. This one, as I said, is a 0.7 ohm coil, and it is rated from 18 to 23 watts. And someone just went past the shop on a bike going about 300 miles an hour, so you should all see that, hear that. The base of it, you've got your 510 pin protruding slightly inside of here, and you've got a nice big O-ring to keep everything in place. And then underneath that, you have got another O-ring just to keep all your liquid in, your second O-ring just under there. One more thing I noticed about this tank while I was taking it apart, which I did totally forget about. This bit pops off to give it a good little bit of a clean, and from time to time, all little bits of fluff will get stuck inside here. So it's just a case of popping it off, give it a good clean out, and you're good as gold again. You do have a little bit of a notch system here, which you can just about see if the light isn't too blaring. Just there. And on the inside you've got a bit of a notch as well. I don't know how well that'll see. And that just keeps it in place and stops you from spinning it around all the way. Pop that on, click it into place, and you've got your adjustable airflow again. So, to prime the coil, what you need to do is get your e-liquid that you're using, put a couple of drops on here, couple of drops on here, couple of drops on here, and a couple of drops on this one, and a couple of drops down the middle as well. You will notice on this, there is a slight mesh, and what that does, that just avoids spit back. So if you over prime your coils or your tank floods out a little bit, you shouldn't be getting a mouthful of liquid. So, nice one to Aspire for thinking of that. So, to reassemble your tank, you get your freshly primed coil, screw it in, get your glass, slot that on. It might be a good idea to put a little bit of e-liquid. Might be a good idea to put a little bit of e-liquid on this O-ring so you don't have the trouble that I just had getting it on. Pop that back on. Fill your tank up with your liquid all the way to the top. I like to do it about a millimetre underneath the top of the coil. So the way I like to fill it up, I like to fill it up to about this point on the coil. So you see you've got 3 lines there, just underneath the notch. I like to fill it up there because I find that if you fill it up too much, you do get quite a lot of leakage. But if you don't fill it up enough, but if you fill it up to that point, you shouldn't have no problems whatsoever. So then after that, you just need to screw this back on. The reason why I'm not filling this one up is because this one is for sale. This one here is my one. So, screw it all back together. So, screw it all back together. Make sure your airflow is set, because obviously you don't want it with no airflow whatsoever. Make sure your airflow is set to how you want it. Screw it onto whatever device that you're using. Set it to the correct and appropriate wattage or voltage, depending on whereabout you are in the world. And then you are good to go. So, being a little bit of a closer look at the Aspire Nautilus 2. We are now going to go back up to the top and we're going to tell you my pros and cons and what I think of the device itself. Nice one. See you all in just a sec. Welcome back up top, guys. So we're going to go through a couple of little pros and cons with this device. And I'm going to tell you what I think of it in actual day-to-day use. I've had this tank 3 times. But I've had this particular tank about 2 weeks while I've been reviewing it, about a week and a half maybe, just after Christmas. So, pros and cons. I'll start with the cons first. There's only a couple of them. It is a really good tank. So, con number 1. It hasn't happened to me this time round, not for a while, but the actual glass. In fact, it's con number 1 and con number 2 at the same time. So, con number 1 is the glass gets quite wet. Gets quite a lot of condensation and leaks out through the bottom. Not all the time, but yeah, I can see that. I know my focus isn't too good. No, you can see a little bit of wet on my finger anyway. It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst at the same time. There is a little bit of leakage, but I do believe, which brings me into con number 2, it's like the second part of it. But that leads me to believe that if this had a proper filling system, rather than a big gaping hole. So, instead of taking the whole top cap off, if there was an option to just unscrew, this top bit, it'd make the whole filling process a hell of a lot pain-free. That's just my one opinion of one guy. So pros, there's a lot of pros with this. The flavour is absolutely incredible. The coil life is incredible. I get up to a week and a half before the flavour starts dropping off, and I use this a hell of a lot more than what the average person would use it if it's their only kit. The reason why I've been using it so much is obviously to put it through its paces, and also working a vape job, and my job is to vape all day. So yeah, they're the pros, quite a few of the pros and cons. I like the way that it comes with a couple of different mouthpieces. That is a really good thing. The airflow, you've got loads and loads of airflow options. You can have it from all the way open, from 5 big holes, which it did show in the download section. 5 big holes, all the way down to 1, which does create a really nice, tight mouth-to-lung vape. And it's quite a quiet little tank. Got no problems with that whatsoever. It's got no feedback, it's got no rattle. Like quite a few when you tanks, mouth-to-lung tanks especially, when you close them down that tight, it creates like a high-pitched kind of whistling, like it's proper struggling to get the air through. This, I have found none of that whatsoever. The way I generally like to vape this tank, it gives me a nice view. I'm using the 1.8 ohm coils. 3 airflows, holes open. Don't know how well my camera's going to pick that up. Not very well, is it? No, not very well at all. 3 airflow holes on around 10 watts. I am using this on the Aegis Legend, which is probably the lowest wattage that this mod's ever seen in its life. But, you know, I'm getting 2.5 days battery life out of it. Can't complain too much. So what else do I like about it? I like the overall look. It's a massive upgrade from the original Nautilus, because with the original Nautilus, it was too big, it was too tall, and it was all glass. It was all glass, and that glass broke very, very easily. I've sold more Nautilus replacement glasses than any other glass in the whole entire world. I really like the look of it, like this whole window, so you can see the juice, what juice you've got left into it. One other little con that I found with it, to actually change the coil is a bit of a pain. You've got to unscrew your top cap, obviously. If you've got any juice left in it, you've got to get rid of your juice. Then you've got to take your glass off. Then you've got to take your coil out. Then put your new coil in, put your glass back on, fill your tank back up, and put your lid back on. And it's not a complicated process by any means whatsoever, but it's a little bit of a drawn out process. Considering with the old Nautilus, it was just a case of turning upside down, unscrewing the base, and the coil came up with that. It was a hell of a lot better in my opinion. This is just a little bit more fiddly. Not by any means more difficult, just a little bit more fiddly, a little bit fiddlier. The 3 coils comes pre-installed with a 0.7 ohm Nautilus coil, BVC Nautilus coil, and that is rated from 18 to 23 watts. And the other coil that comes in the box that is not pre-installed is a 1.8 ohm coil, which fires at 10 to 14 watts. I prefer the 1.8 ohm coils because it's truer mouth to lung, it's a more true mouth to lung pull. And either one, you're getting, I've known these coils to last up to 2.5, maybe even 3 weeks. Obviously, if you're using thicker liquids, if you're using 70-30 sweet stuff like premium liquids, like pretty much everything behind me here, your coil life, it's going to be a bit crap, you know what I mean? Obviously, they make millions and millions and millions of these a day. So, because of that, if you ever get a good coil, just take it back to the shop that you got it from, within reason. Obviously, don't go back 2 weeks later because you're going to get told to jog on. But you know what I mean? Like, we get it all the time in our shop. Not all the time, but at least 2-3 times a week. Someone's bought a coil, they came back in the next morning, oh, it doesn't work. Straight away, it's not a problem. Swap it out for you, do it all, make sure it's all primed up properly. Because dud coils are a thing, so don't be put off by that. You might get 2 or 3 in a row. Chances are the whole pack or the whole run's just a little bit dodgy. Just take it back to the shop and they should give you another packet, or they should just swap them out for you. Because, you know, it's the honest thing to do. The flavour of the coils, you're getting a hell of a lot of flavour. It's not the best flavour in the world because it's a mouth to lung 1.8 ohm coil. Do you know what I mean? It's firing at 14 watts. But the flavour is crisp and the flavour is true, and you know exactly what flavour you've got in your tank, and you can't complain with it. You get a really nice, especially if you're running it like how I run mine generally with the 3 holes open, maybe even 2 holes open, you get a really, really nice throat hit. So it's ideal for people who are just starting out in the vaping world. It's not too complicated to use. It is a little bit fiddly, but if you learn how to do it on this, you can change coils on anything. When it comes to changing coils, the principles are all the same. You just prime your coils, screw it in where it needs to go on, put on what anything else you need to put on it, then fill it up. Obviously, all tanks are slightly different, but the actual process is pretty similar. So, this has been the Nautilus 2 tank. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you found it very interesting and informative. And I'll catch you all in the next video. And remember, as long as you're not smashing the bifters, you're winning by my book. So thank you all very much for watching. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification button. And I'll catch you all in the next video. See you in a bit, guys.